A big thank you to everybody for joining today's virtual company showroom where we are hosting Google. So thanks to today's speakers who are going to be talking about life at Google and the current opportunities that are open with them. So first, I'd like to welcome Tim Schuster, who's a CERN alumnus. He's data and research analyst in the trust and safety department. We also have Joseph Mackay, who also is a CERN alumnus, and he's a senior software engineer in site reliability engineering. And we're also joined by Daria Beknazarian, who is the technical recruiter for Google, and I think also Christina, who will also be joining us in October the 21st for the Moving Out of Academia to Big Tech. All I need to do is hand the floor over to you, Tim, Daria, and Joseph. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot for having us. Yeah, we're going to have two presentations. I'm going to talk about my experience working in various data-related roles, and Joseph is talking about his work in software and site reliability engineering. And yeah, with that, I'm going to talk about my experience. As I said, I'm working in I have worked in a variety of data analysis related roles at Google, but I'm also going to talk about my experience as a physicist and what I was able to take away from working at CERN and in general as an experimental heavy ion physics physicist, what I'm now applying at Google. And yeah, during my PhD in Frankfurt and my postdoc at Yale, I was mainly focused on experimental data analysis of experiments at CERN. But yeah, I'm happy I also got to contribute to modeling new signals I was analyzing, understanding how acceptance, background effects, statistics influence, for example, fluctuation measurements. So, and I also got to work on the STAR collaboration at Brookhaven National Lab. So I think it was a very important experience for me to see different sides, working with experimentalists and working with theorists. Seeing the difference between working at CERN versus working at BNL. So then in 2015, I decided to make the transition to industry. And in the beginning, I didn't find it easy to figure out what companies should I apply for, what kind of jobs should I look for with that experience. And in addition, being told, as a physicist, you can do anything, and it's very easy to find a job, that didn't really make the search easier. But I'm happy I ended up at Google. Also because, yeah, there's a lot that feels familiar in the approach, or also similar in the day-to-day work to my experience from research. Yeah, Google is also a large international organization, lots of interesting people with different backgrounds to work with. The Google mission to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful also rang a bell to what I was doing and the approach of the physics community to exchanging research results. And finally, the massive scale of questions. A lot of things that are done at Google or at CERN have not been done before anywhere, like be it in the scale of computing, data analysis infrastructure, or just running products that serve 1 billion users. Now, what do I do concretely at Google? I started in 2015 in Dublin on the ad spam trust and safety team. And trust and safety is a large team inside Google that's protecting Google users and Google products against fraud, spam, and abuse. I was protecting ads, which is one of the core Google products, by finding anomalies in data, mainly time series data to detect fraud, and then taking these analysis findings to build systems that automatically prevent fraud. I had to understand how cyber criminals work, how that kind of fraud operations go about. It was something, yeah, really very new for me. And yeah, working with ads is something that has a big impact because day by day, these teams make sure that yeah, tens or hundreds of millions of dollars go to the right place. I then moved to Zurich and started working on the YouTube scaled abuse team, which is also, yeah, related to trust and safety. And yeah, this team is charged with making sure that the more than 2 billion YouTube users are not exposed to malicious content. And the scale in scaled abuse means that every minute 500 hours of new videos are uploaded to YouTube, and yeah, someone needs to automatically detect abuse, and that means not only understanding what's in the video, but also understanding the context. So a very yeah, complex decision that needs to be made very quickly and at large scale. I then did a 9-month rotation as a Stadia product analyst. And rotation is an exchange program internal to Google, where you can try out a completely new, different team for a limited amount of time. And that's yeah, one of the one example of what yeah, where inside Google you can yeah, constantly learn something new, grow or try out something for some time. Yeah, Stadia is the Google cloud gaming platform that has been in the media yesterday. And as a product analyst, I took on a completely different role. I was using data to actually understand Stadia users. And yeah, not put myself in the shoes of the bad users, but the ones we actually care about. And I was, yeah, using process mining to understand how game developers on Stadia are using the cloud development tools that we provide them. And now, since 1 year, I'm back in trust and safety in a new research and development team where we are focusing on understanding and preventing future threat scenarios. Now, yeah, to summarize my experience as a physicist and skills that I think I developed there, one important thing I yeah, took away from that transition and moving from academia to industry was that, yeah, physics is only one small aspect of what you're doing day to day. And it's important to be aware of the broad range of skills you're using when thinking about jobs outside. And yeah, of course, you need to understand the physics, not only like the particle or nuclear physics that you're analyzing, but also the physics that's taking place in the detector in order to understand how the data comes about and what could be calibration pitfalls or data quality issues. But once you understand the data and what you want to measure, you need the tools. In my case, I got experience in handling massive amounts of data, get things to run in large-scale computing environments. Of course, statistical methods to interpret the data or compare it to theory. And yeah, last but not least, the skills connected to visualizing data, and so you can present it and explain your work to others. But that brings me to the people or collaboration skills. Like, yeah, you're regularly presenting to different audiences and need to understand what level of detail to show someone, depending on if you talk to a detector specialist about calibration, or maybe you're talking about confidence intervals to a theorist. So adapting a presentation to the audience is something that, yeah, I realized I was doing without yeah, honoring it as much as a skill. So yeah, and then this organizing work is also something I learned as a physicist. So yeah, a lot of work is not directly aimed at the analysis at hand, but enabling it, like when you're organizing a seminar in your working group to get new ideas, or you're maintaining a software library that other physicists are using. You're maybe inside a collaboration convening a working group, or helping new students ramp up on a topic, or improve internal processes like paper review processes inside a collaboration. That's all enabling work. So these are all invaluable parts of being a physicist at CERN, I think. When you then look at skills I need as an analyst at Google, there's a huge overlap. Of course, instead of understanding the physics, I now need to understand the product, because that determines the data quality, and need to understand how the product is logging data that I'm analyzing in the end. But yeah, apart from that, a lot of overlap. One big piece of difference is that yeah, now data is not from natural processes and obeying to laws of nature, but from humans who have a free will, who can decide to behave in unexpected ways. Or in the case of spam fighting, like I do in trust and safety, can have an adversarial intent. So yeah, this is something new in the data. But yeah, otherwise, I'm yeah, compared to at CERN, I'm using a lot more and different tools and methods that are not limited to natural sciences, but some of them also come from quantitative social sciences. So yeah, it matches the differences in data. But yeah, to give you like a takeaway, I think when I was first writing a CV for an industry job, it wasn't easy for me to translate what was important as a physics result to instead explain why an outsider, non-physicist, should care about my results, how I got to these results, and like what I brought in to make this possible. And yeah, especially let these other dimensions stand out. And yeah, if I can give a recommendation to people currently working in physics, is try to seek out some experience with non-standard tools, both in software and statistical methods. Although I know that's not always easy to do in a collaboration that has like established processes. Yeah, so let me wrap up with a list of data roles that you may find at the central Google career site, which is, yeah, I think a lot of people are like who come out of data analysis role at CERN are looking for data science as a job, but yeah, when at Google there's a lot of roles that are that have analyst in the title. There are also data scientist roles at Google, but they would more match what is called a statistician or a quantitative analyst in other companies. In the end, always make sure you like read the whole role description to see if that somehow, yeah, relates to you or your interests. I think, yeah, if you have worked in data analysis at CERN, but have focused on the programming skills, then yeah, also software engineer jobs may be of interest to you. But yeah, Joseph is going to talk about that more. And then if this part of organizing the work and looking more at the big picture and the strategy it appeals to you, then there are also plenty of roles in technical program management, product management. So yeah, there's a variety of jobs related to data at Google. If you're looking, then it's important to know which part of your job as a physicist you like and you would like to focus on. And yeah, stay open. It's a wild field and a wide field, I wanted to say. Yeah, and with that, I'll hand it over to Joseph.
So hi everyone, nice to connect again with all of you. I'm Joseph and I'm going to talk about software engineers and site reliability engineering roles at Google. So before going into the details, I would also like to start talking about my journey at CERN and Google in the beginning. So at least from a CERN or physics perspective, my journey has been probably a bit less fascinating. So my education is software engineering and computer science, and that's all what I have done. So both at CERN and Google. So I think at CERN I had a very straightforward path. So I started as a summer student first back in 2015, where I joined the IT monitoring team. And then the next year, after I enjoyed my summer there and I got fascinated with all the work being done at CERN and the teams and the organization. So I reapplied and got hired again as a technical student next year in 2016, where I was working while finishing my master's degrees in the technology department, and I was working on machine protection and interlock systems. So these are critical, safety critical systems in our in CERN's accelerator complex, like the LHC, for example, the power converter, PC interlock system, and beam interlock systems. And I was mostly working on those. Then after that, I continued as a fellow in 2017 and 2018, where I was working in the IT storage development team. My main responsibilities and work there was the EOS disk storage system, and most specifically, I was working on the EOS CTA disk tape integration from the disk the disk storage development side. So after that, I joined Google in 2018, and I started, and I'm still working in Zurich, Switzerland. So at Google, I've been mostly working in technical infrastructure and Google Cloud platform. So mostly internal infrastructure and systems that Google used to basically run everything at Google. So my main areas of responsibility have been during the last 4 years here, storage products, similarly just like at CERN. I'm also focusing on release and rollout engineering, or more broadly change management, how to make safe changes to our production environment and services, and also dependency management and disaster recovery of Google services, data centers, and so on. Next slide, please. So I would like to shed some light to what SRE and SRE roles are at Google. What are the commonalities? What are the differences? So the most frequent question or not even question, but the concern when I interview someone for a site reliability engineering role at Google, especially with people coming from more like a software development background, is that they are afraid that now they will have to do production and operation work only. And this is quite far from the truth, because actually like both of those roles focus on different aspects of development. So I think the main commonalities are that both Swiss and SREs at Google, they have a common mission, which is like plain simple, develop, maintain, and run Google's products and services. Both roles are present during the entire product development lifecycle. It's not really a one-to-one thing that Swiss only develop things and SREs just run it in production. So more specifically for Swiss, I would say it's still like true that they focus on feature development on products, but this is not exclusive. They probably write the most code. So if someone is like really into coding, it's probably still the best role to pick, at least at more junior levels. Of course, as people like climb the ladder, going higher level at Google, they will like put to multiple different directions than just coding. And so they are also not exempt from production and operation work, more so because not all services have SRE support. So SRE is intentionally designed to be a scarce resource at Google. So there's mostly like a 1 to 15 ratio of SREs to Swiss. And so there's only SRE support for the most critical services of Google. So what's special in an SRE role? So first of all, SRE is like not really a good term for a role in itself. SRE is an organization which hires many different roles. It hires software engineers. This is what I am as well. So I'm a software engineer working in the SRE organization. Also hires system engineers, product program managers. We also have technical writers and so on. So it's a vast organization with many different roles. Where the difference lies, in my opinion, is the focus. So since Google provide services that are used by billion people, like most people on Earth, and those people expect it to be like always fast and available. So that's a huge responsibility. And because of that, it deserves its own role at Google. And this is what SREs do. So basically, they make those products available to everyone 24/7. So the focus here is on the reliability and scalability aspects of our services and products. SRE also owns production and provides production on call for our critical services. And yeah, there is a huge like focus on like treating those production problems as software problems and engineer services to make sure that we can, like one mission of SRE is to scale sublinearly, optimally, like logarithmically with the like the complexity of the services and deployments we manage. Next slide, please. So which I would like to talk about which skills does a candidate need to succeed at Google, in my opinion. Also focusing a bit on the interviews that a candidate would like face if they apply to Google. Again, like there are some commonalities in both roles. So we are looking for generalists. So this means that we are testing the coding abilities of the candidate, focuses on like most common algorithms and data structures, and also testing. So we focus on general cognitive abilities and problem solving, and interview questions are tailored for that. One important aspect that is often overlooked or not like stressed enough is the leadership. So we are looking for like leadership abilities at every level. This doesn't mean that everyone has to be a manager at some point or have to be able to like lead people. It's more related to that we want to have like a good balance of top-down and bottom-up initiatives. So we are looking for individuals that are self-initiated and want to take the lead and lead an effort or other people towards completing something. Google is proud to be an engineering company, and this is like a significant cornerstone of like being able to manage this culture. So on the Swiss side, so the candidate will have to complete a system design interview or need to be able to design a system. This is a functional system for a use case, for example, design Twitter or a functionality of Gmail, where you will need to like design a storage solution. You need to like find out what should be the consistency, for example, of that, what should be the critical user interactions and so on. So this is a system design exercise focusing on that. On the SRE side, we have a difference, like both are called system design, but it's called non-abstract large-scale system design, which has a bit different focus. So in this case, the candidate has to be able to design a system and prove target requirements by calculation. So in this case, we are interested in like people understand that like critical services have different service level indicators, objectives, and by designing a more and more complex system, how these things get impacted, and the candidate needs to be able to like make calculations to like design a system in a way that those requirements will still be satisfied. In SRE roles, we also require some Unix, Linux internals, or more like broadly operating system internals knowledge. And since I mentioned SRE provides production on call, there can be also a troubleshooting exercise where the candidate needs to analyze and root cause different software and system problems. Next slide, please. So after explaining, so basically what are the cornerstones of succeeding at Google, at least in my opinion. So I'd like to talk about like my experience. I feel like my time and experience at CERN helped me a lot to succeed at Google. More specifically, for example, the experience of development highly reliable systems like the PC and Beam interlock systems, and designing these systems around target requirements or at scale, for example, like the EOS CTA system, naturally directed me toward a site reliability engineering aspect at Google. But also I had the opportunity to like develop storage systems and in general software development and coding. I learned a lot of C++, Java, Go. Those are all like technologies, languages broadly used at Google as well, which helped me to succeed as a software engineer as well. Though I would like to point out that I think that still the key is preparation, even like for succeeding at the interviews. So even if somebody feels well equipped going to the interviews, I still believe that setting some time aside to understand the requirements of the interviews, different interviews, and access, like practicing a few questions can go a long way. Next slide, please. So if you are interested in joining Google as a SWE or SRE, then all you have to do is go to careers.google.com and search for software engineering site reliability engineering roles. Roles are offered at every level. Basically, it's probably like most well-known and common roles at Google. There are always every year intern position opened also at every level. There is this STEP intern program, which is the student training in engineering program. So this is intended for underrepresented and early like stage students. There are also bachelor students, master students, and even PhD student internship programs. There is also specific roles for university graduates, experienced professional, and all kind of leadership and management roles. The most important thing to find your like matching level and expertise is to look at the minimum qualifications of the role. And so I would like to hand over to Daria. Thanks a lot.
Hi, everyone. I don't have a slide, so we can actually stop presenting, so you can concentrate on what I have, on all the good stuff I have to tell you. So my name is Daria. I am a technical recruiter at Google. My main job is hiring software engineers for Zurich and other locations. And I have been doing that for a little while. It's important to, I hope you did get the idea that you don't have to be that like a specific thing to join Google at a specific role. So you don't have to be a data analyst before you join as a data analyst. You can be doing something completely different, right? Like Tim told us, his career had nothing, well, very little to do with that specific job. My education is actually in plant molecular virology. I did my master thesis here in Basel, and I was creating transgenic plants. So that was fun. And now I'm doing recruitment. So you can have very different backgrounds, and you can still come to Google and do very different jobs and find satisfaction in them and be happy here as well. So the lateral skills that you can maintain and get throughout your education, careers, and different experiences that you had that you're having in your life are very valuable, and are seen here at Google as well. So what I'm going to tell you within the next couple of minutes is a little bit about Zurich as a site. Then I'm going to tell you a little bit about what to expect from your recruiter when you are going to start working towards your application and interview process within Google. And then I will leave a lot of time for questions. So I think this is something that Rachel is going to help us moderate. All right, good. So Google in Zurich is 18, I think, years of age. We've celebrated its 15 years just before COVID. And it's the third largest engineering site in the world. I know it's hard to believe because it's Zurich, right? What do you expect from a small town like this? But however, it is true. Other locations like London and Dublin are larger, but that is because they contain majority different functions. But here in Zurich, we have around 4,000 people, and majority of them are technical professionals. Not all of them are software engineers. They are different roles that they are doing here, but it's very kind of technically oriented site. We're extremely international. We have around 80 nationalities here. We have a lot of internal groups where people can make sure that they can find people whether that share their interest or they come from this, similar backgrounds, universities, countries, whatever, name it. And we are still growing, not at quite as high pace as we did a couple of years ago, but it's impossible to expect us to double in size every second year. And it's unreasonable, and we really shouldn't be doing that. We have two campuses here in Zurich, two different places. People have varying opinions about which one do they like more, but there's everything for, there's something for everyone from that perspective. So from the attraction of Google, apart from the great job that we're doing and that what Tim and Joseph talked to you about, we also are a great employer. We have and I'll just mention the things that I find particularly interesting and important here. We have a very good pension fund, which in Switzerland, as you can imagine, is quite important as well, and something to keep in mind, no matter how young you are. We have a very generous paternity and maternity leave programs. I know that for other European countries, they might not seem quite as generous, but for Switzerland, having 18 weeks baby bonding leave for fathers and 24 weeks for mothers is quite an attractive offer. What else? Yes, regarding perks, obviously everyone heard about our fantastic offices and the food offering that we have. It is true, it is amazing, it is too much choice. But it is really does make your life as a professional a little bit easier, because you really don't have to think much about what to prepare and how to take care of mundane things. You know, some people love doing that. Some other people, like me, I will be like, if I cannot think about this, I'll take this opportunity. We also have gyms. We also have very nice facilities. Now we are sitting in a room that is looking over the rail tracks in Harbor, and actually it's really, really nice. So I'm finishing now. This was a very quick overview because I want to give you an opportunity to ask as many questions as you might have.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Tim, Joseph, and Daria. And I can see that we have Dr. Hans Beck, who's straight in there with a question. Please take it away.
Yeah, hi, Tim. Thanks so much for sharing your journey. I learned a lot from you during your time at CERN, Frankfurt, and so on. And then maybe to the audience, I think it would be really a plus to have you as a colleague. So I don't know, just whoever is considering to apply, you would have Tim as a colleague. So take that into account. Definitely a plus. My question would be, Tim, you shared your view on product, software, statistics, and people. Can you tell us a little bit about the share of, is it a quarter of your time that you spend on all of these segments?
Thanks for the kind words, Hans, and thanks for the question. It's it really depends on the role. I would say when I did this rotation as a product analyst, kind of the organizational work was very important. Like that was really the first thing. Talking to the product managers who kind of look at the strategic plan for the product. Talk to the software engineers who develop the new product features. In the case of Stadia, talk to customer-facing teams like user experience researchers who really who do these study groups and who do the qualitative analysis of how people get along with our tools. This was the majority of the time I was spending there, and then actually going back and analyzing data was a smaller part. Now I'm in this R&D team, and we have more time for deep dive analyses. So I would say now my share of time has more shifted towards I have stretches of a couple of weeks where I'm really focusing on analysis, where of course I still have to talk to people, like how do you log this and how do I get that kind of data, but yeah, it really depends on the role. Yeah, there's a lot of development potential inside of Google, and even within one team, I would say you have a bit of an alignment of skills, like someone who's better at that could focus on that, and on the other hand, also interests, like, oh, I'm not so good at this yet, but I want to learn it. So can you please put me on a project where I get to use that other skill? So yeah. Sorry, I don't have a clear-cut answer, but it's really very varied. But it's definitely possible to kind of tailor that to your needs and interests.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great. So I see we've got a mixture of questions in the chat, but then also people have raised their hands. Thank you. So we'll take them in the order of Danica, and then we will go to Max, who wrote his question in the chat. So Danica, please take it away.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks for the presentation. And I'm sorry, my camera is not on. I have a weird setup here. I apologize. So my question is that I've heard it's rather difficult to get a response to an application that I have submitted to Google if I don't have a referral. If somebody at Google doesn't refer me, or if I don't get contacted that directly by a recruiter. Do you have any advice for people who do not have contacts working currently at Google? How could they get through that first stage?
Yes, let me answer this question. Well, the events like this is a great place to start. On top in the chat, I have posted a link to a form. So if you would like to be contacted by a recruiter, do fill in the form and we'll take care of this. Yes, so yes, I understand it is indeed difficult to get through the first pre-selection. We don't have any systems that do any pre-selections, so this is one of the fake news things about Google. There are people that are looking through CVs, so, and considering that we do get millions a year, sometimes, I mean, we don't give enough attention to the to absolutely each and every one, and sometimes it happens that we miss them. So events like this is great. Take advantage of them. Dinka, this is an excellent first step. There was another question as a follow-up regarding the referral. You don't have to have a referral to get a response from Google. Yes, indeed it does help, but we hire plenty of people that do not have any referrals coming in.
Okay,
I hope it helps.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, it does. Thanks.
Thank you. That was also a question from Alberto in the chat. So all I'd like to say is that you have contacts on alumni.cern. People working at CERN, you can contact people who are working at Google via alumni.cern. Right, so let's now go to, there was a question in the chat from Max.
So yeah, my question is, I'm currently an electronics engineer, making the change into software engineering. I have quite a lot of experience personally in developing software, but not so much in a professional setting. So my question would be, what advice would you give to an applicant in my situation?
So I think it's a good start, but you already mentioned, so personal projects or join open source projects. So those are always like a really good opportunity, more so because you can put it on your CV and like someone can directly look on your code and contributions. So I would say that's like the best place to start, open source projects. Google also has a lot of open source projects, so there's even a chance of like direct engagement with Google engineers in this space and area. Also, you know, doing coding exercises, coding challenges. Google also has plenty of those, you know, being run throughout the years. Different hackathons. Those all are, I think, a really good place to start. Yeah, I don't think you need to like transition to a different role just to get hired by Google. So there are, yeah, definitely other venues. So hope it helped. Yeah.
That's good.
Absolutely, confirm. You know, it doesn't matter if you have a professional experience in that. You can absolutely get hired as a software engineer as well. Open source, make sure that your LinkedIn is up to date and also mentions those projects so people can actually find you. People like me, recruiters, can find you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. So now let's move on to Jonathan.
Hi there. I just have a short question to Tim. That is, what were your motivations to leave science for industry, and have these expectations been met?
That's a good question. So on the one hand, one motivation was real world impact. So like, don't get me wrong, CERN has a lot of real world impact, but kind of even finding the Higgs boson is like not really changing anyone's life today. so like, what's the biggest thing for a physicist is really like, yeah, as I said, doesn't change like people's life now. I'm of course neglecting like all the industry spin-off and also information technology spin-off that comes out of CERN. But this is something that really came true like this. Okay, I'm finding out something and it really changes the life of people like who maybe don't get defrauded of their money, or don't lose access to their Google account because we protect them better against hackers. Stuff like that definitely became true. Another part which is about like just job stability is, I think, in science, a big question, where I was somehow like wrapping up my first postdoc and was like looking at the prospect of like doing another 2-year postdoc here, doing something there. So kind of this deciding where I want to work and having that kind of job stability definitely also plus. It did become true.
Thank you very much. And also thanks to everyone for the very interesting presentation.
So we have a question here in the chat from Joanna. I don't know if Joanna wants to come on cam or if I perhaps can read it out. It's basically a question about whether Google, either Google does or they fund research projects in collaborations with universities.
I don't know much about. I know that we have like some different programs for students, like there is in Switzerland this apprenticeship program, which is the cornerstone of education here. And you can like, as a Googler, you can like often get some like evaluation for those apprentices and so on. I don't really know about some specific research, just because I think Google is still a business and company, so those are very likely confidential. But yeah, there is a lot of like education effort where Google tries to be active also, just like, of course, as another source of talent pool that we are interested in. So there are like, if there's some specific like follow-up to this question, happy to answer. You know, if you are looking for an opportunity from like education and so on to engage with Google, there are probably good venues for that, but probably there's like no like hands-on working with Google engineers like very closely on Google products in this area.
But there are university collaborations, like on the security field, for example, Google collaborating with universities who specialize in that, and other like also fundamental research projects where, for example, Google says, well, we don't have the experience with the hardware, with the detector, but we can bring in experience on data analysis or machine learning or data processing at scale. So in that sense, yes, there are that kind of programs.
Go ahead, please, Valentina.
Okay, great. First of all, I would like to thank all of the 3 speakers. It was very nice to hear your experience. And I have a question to Tim. I'm interested, what are the interview steps for the data analyst or data scientist position at Google? Because I know a lot about computer engineering and software engineering, but not much about data scientist positions.
Yeah, we would definitely look into like the direct technical role-related knowledge. That is, on the one hand, statistical methods, very often connected to an example. Like we tackle a lot of like questions that have not been addressed yet. So if you can bring an example from something where you have done something new, where you have addressed a data set that nobody looked into before, how do you go about that? That's great. But of course, also like knowing your like statistical methods. And then some tools, like I would say for data processing, I'm using most of the time SQL, then Python related to like different statistical analysis libraries in Python. But if you can confidently talk about your favorite technical tool for data analysis, that's a big advantage. And then beyond the technical, there are also these interviews that aim more at how do you work with other people, and what Joseph mentioned about leadership. Like if you are convinced this is the right solution, how do you somehow share that with the team and make sure you can somehow use your influence on other people to to get the right outcome for the whole team.
Okay, thank you. So, but are there like the steps like it is for the software engineering position? For example, there is one step where the recruiter gets to know you. Then second step is can be, for example, testing your algorithm skills, like giving you some problem to solve and so on. Like are here for the also tests.
Like a normal sequence of events would be a recruiter screening, then one interview that's kind of covering a bit everything with someone from the team or from the profession. And if that goes well, you would have 3 to 4 interviews with a bit more focus on one of the aspects. But that's not like written in stone. Like it can always vary. But I would say one recruiter, one screening with the team, and then 3 to 4 interviews is the usual process.
All right. Thank you very much for your answers.
So should we move on to Rodrigo now, please, with your question?
Sure. So thank you. I was wondering, while hearing about rotating positions within Google, if it's easier or if it's the same to rotate within Google itself, or let's say Alphabet companies, for example, DeepMind or any other of the companies.
Do I understand you correctly? You're asking if it's easier to do the rotations within Google or within Alphabet companies?
Right.
It's easy to do rotations within Google. Yes, companies like DeepMind are considered to be part of Alphabet and are an independent individual contract.
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Rodrigo. So if you don't mind, Rachel, I'll quickly go through the questions on the chat to make sure that I can cover as many as possible.
Yeah.
So Alberto, referral is not as good to have. It's not a must-have. You can totally get hired at Google without having a referral. Michele, do we have a benefit of shares? Yes, shares is part of a package at Google. So your salary is going to be not just your yearly salary, it's going to be salary, yearly bonus, and some stock. Yeah. Joanna, we've answered your question. Bregen, I'm sorry if I pronounce your name correctly. Do we have some remote work policy? We do. It's complicated, but it's possible. Yeah. If you are going to be working with a recruiter, and this is something that is going to come up and is important to you, talk to them about that. Yes. From my experience, hiring people within Google, especially in the past 2 years, it is extremely difficult to onboard remotely. And if possible, I would recommend not doing this. It takes longer. Google is a universe. The closer you are to people around you, the easier and faster it will go. But a remote policy for people, for our colleagues, is absolutely possible, and it's a topic that we're discussing more and more now. Good. So remote policy, yes. The hardware engineering role in electronics, to be honest, I am not entirely sure. I don't think so. I think we have hardware somewhere else in Europe. Amitabh, you need to take a look at our career site. Giordano, we strongly recommend our Googlers, when they're applying people, referring people, to have a personal knowledge of their work, because like this, the referral actually carries weight. Otherwise, it's just sending CVs and gets zero value. Yes, so I hope that helps. Rafael. We do hire senior people. We love hiring senior people. The process is difficult, but it's worth it. So 10 to 20 years of experience at an architect level, absolutely. If a recruiter reaches out to you, trust them to guide you through the process. Yes, and maybe don't get so attached to titles that you might potentially get or not get. Yes, Tobias. Joseph says hi. Yeah. No, too many years of experience is not a problem. Yes, sometimes people get attached to the titles and they kind of go like, I have been doing that for 10 years. I want to be a staff software engineer. Again, Google is a universe. Maybe not a staff software engineer, maybe a senior engineer, but kind of look at the work that you're going to be doing. Yes, that's the most important thing. Teleworking schema, I am not entirely sure what that means, but if it's referring to a remote work, yes, it's possible. Now, currently, we are working on a hybrid scheme, so 3 days in, 2 days out. So yeah, Anushri, yes, we do have them, but you need to check our career page now, because I think the timing is very strict when you need to apply for those. Zurich still open? Yes, exactly. Not even a partial hiring freeze. Freeze means nothing happens. Still plenty of things are happening at Google. It is slower than it was at the beginning of the year, but absolutely roles are there and available, and please do apply. But be patient. Yeah, application at Google is a journey. Some journeys are short, some journeys are long. Recruiters are your best friend in this concern. I know that for a lot of people, it kind of go like, no, but how can I trust a recruiter? They will not give me all the information. Our job is to hire people for Google. And if you're the right person for Google, it is our job to make sure that you come to Google happy and will join us. Please do keep this in mind. A myth that I've recently heard is that recruiters get bonuses if we save some money for Google by offering less salary for 2 candidates. This is not true. Okay, I want it loud and clear. This is absolutely not true. I am a normal employee of Google. My salary looks exactly the same as Joseph's and Tim's. So please see recruiters as a person who will take you through the process and will tell you everything you need to know. One last thing before we wrap up, and I know that we are over time already. At Google, we have a program that is called Champion Call. Champion Call program is a program that puts you in touch with a Googler for a specific question you have. So for example, you want to find out how it is to relocate from, I don't know, France to Switzerland and what to keep in mind. We'll find you a person who's done that so you can talk to them. You want to find out how to prepare best for the interviewing for a specific role. We'll find you this person to talk to them. So if a recruiter can't answer this question, you'll have a different person to talk to. This program is available for everyone, for the candidates going through the process. So if you are in touch with a recruiter, ask them about this program. Yes, they'll be more than happy to put you in touch with them. So that was a quick fire round. I hope I've answered many questions.
Thank you, Daria. In case I know there's still questions that remain to be answered. Can we maybe do one more question from
Absolutely.
people who put their hands up? Say, Maria, because you had your hand up right from the beginning.
I just wrote it out actually, but it's fine. So thank you very much for the presentation. It was super important. I just wanted to ask, so for me, I'm a software developer looking to switch to a more of a project manager. Well, I have several interests actually. Program manager, project manager, scrum master, product owner. So it's a bit to get the touch from the software development part and more to the managerial part. And I don't know, first, how easy it is to find such position in Google Zurich. Then if it's maybe easy to start as a developer and then do the switch. And also I checked the Google career webpage several times and I find it difficult to find such positions in general. So I don't know if I'm putting the wrong keywords or they have just a fancy name that I don't see and that's why I don't apply. Thank you very much.
Maria, excellent question. from my experience, it is best to come at Google at the place of your comfort. So if you are a software engineer now, come as a software engineer, do the switch to project or program manager within Google. Because you have to keep in mind that if you want to do the switch at Google, your competition is going to be very strong, both externally and internally. So people who are already doing those jobs are going to be applying for the role that you are applying for with very little experience in this yet still. So come join Google at the place of the comfort and do the switch within. Like this, it will be a little bit more comfortable. Just don't do both switches at the same time. It's a lot. Yeah.
I also feel like that it's the right thing to do, what Daria just mentioned. Normally you can take this path and transfer within Google. You have to do the additional interviews, but it could be that you have to do like less interviews depending on your competency and area of your work. So this can be already an advantage. Also that you are going to interview with one of your colleagues and you already know Google. So, and in my opinion, or my experience, yeah, there is like a higher successful conversion within Google, I would say.
But then in the moment of interviewing, because I mean, this thing is something that I have super clear. I don't want to be a developer for 5 more years, let's say. So in the moment of interviewing for a software developer position, if you are honest saying, hey, you know, I don't want to be a developer forever, is that something good? I mean, it would be seen as something good or something like, we actually need a developer. We don't want someone that wants to switch.
It's absolutely fine to be honest. We don't expect you to be the developer for your entire life. It's fine to want to do different things.
Good, thank you.
You're definitely not going to be judged by that, yeah? Your performance during the interview is going to be the defining factor if you're going to be able to join the company or not.
Okay, thank you very
The
much.
more you tell the recruiter, the better. Another thing. There were a couple of questions about how to get in touch. I hope everybody can see the form that I have attached to the chat. I'm going to reattach it again. Use that one. Yeah, that will be probably the easiest way to find me as well. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn.
So a very big thank you to all of you for joining us for this very lively exchange, to our speakers. It was great. I hope you found it very valuable, very good experience. All that remains to be said is a huge thank you to everybody, and we'll see you all very soon.